So for those of you who have already been following along on my journey with the LE, this may seem like deja vu. But for those of you with a keen eye, you will have already seen some changes. Okay, so let's stop and rewind. I want to take a moment to show you guys how I got here, so that way you can see that I do listen and pay attention to the comments. First up, we've got the wheels. There's a couple points on these. Firstly, quite a few of you have commented asking where they are and why I haven't got them on the car. Well, I've been making excuses. I've been telling you it was because the paint was flaking. Well, that is actually true, but I think it's time for a change. It's been roughly 10 years or so since I've had these wheels on the car. They're still flaking in the corner. May as well get them on, have a look, see if I like it. Turns out I do. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments. Second part for the wheels. Well, it's the overall diameter. So the original alloys that I did the first test with, they're roughly 2 inches taller than these honeycombs on the 14-inch wheels. Now, you might not think that makes much of a difference, but in the overall scheme of things, as you will see when we get to actually doing the new test, it makes quite a difference, and the results show. You'll soon see that. Circling back to the looks, well, I am actually digging the gold, so I'm going to be looking at some aftermarket options to go back to the gold. I won't be running the honeycombs once the engine swap is complete, but you can get aftermarket ones in a larger diameter. Maybe that's the option I go. That's wheels and tyres sorted. Now for the bang juice. So, draining the fuel tank. That fuel, although I had only just put it in there at the last video, it had been sitting in that jerry can for quite some time, and in the sun for a good portion of that as well, which no doubt degrades it. So fresh 98 going in after draining the old fuel out. Secondly, there was a couple of questions around throttle opening and whether the cable may have been stretched or if I was actually giving it full throttle. 100% giving it full throttle. Had a bystander with me, and we also went through to make sure that the blades were opening to 100%, and you can actually hear better in this second take for the 0 to 100 that the secondaries are actually opening up and giving you that more of an acoustic sound. Listen out for that. So after all of that yabbering, you're probably wondering what does it actually amount to, if anything. So let's take a look. Alright, here we go. So after making all the changes we just discussed, let's see what we can do. We'll rev her up and yeah, let's send it. Spinning the tyres, let's go. Second test now, going through the gears. I've also got a break in traffic, it's pretty busy here at the moment, which is not ideal. But yeah, on stall, we are revving the tyre, on stall we're spinning the tyres about 2,000 RPM. Okay, so that's take two for the How Slow Am I series of this HX Coupe or Monaro. Firstly, before we get into the performance, how do we as a car community feel about the gold honeycomb rims? I'm actually liking them. I think I said it's been about 10 years, but I'm enjoying the vibe. Going to keep rolling them until I end up getting to a point where I can't use them anymore. So, when it comes to performance figures, I think it's pretty obvious if you've watched this from the whole way through that there's been changes. Getting the tyres to spin, that's a big point. So, where are we? Just in drive, not manually shifting. We're sitting around that 14 seconds still. A little bit of tyre spin off the line probably slowed us down on the takeoff, so maybe a shade quicker if that wasn't a thing. For manually shifting, well, we've seen some differences. It's gone from about 13.8 seconds down to all but a flat 11 seconds. So that's nearly 2.8 seconds faster. You could really feel it in the top end when it got moving. That lower end still bogs down a bit. That's to do with some tuning that the carby probably needs. So where do we go from here? No more on the testing. Back into the motor, get it put back together, buttoned up, ready to go in. Another disclaimer, as I mentioned in the first time round doing this, 100 isn't actually correct on the speedo. I thought changing the wheels back to the original 14s would have fixed that, but it didn't. It was about 93 kilometres instead of about 90 beforehand. So I don't actually get to 100 on both of the runs, but I am actually doing 100 kilometres per hour for the test. So, HXLE Coupe, is it faster when you change a couple minor things and go back to standard? Yes, it is, by about 2.8 seconds.